Hello students, this is the second video of the chapter 2, Nelson Mandela, A Long Walk to Freedom. Okay, so let's begin. A few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe as a spectacular array of South African jets, helicopters, and troops carriers roared in perfect formation over the Union buildings. Previously, we saw that he was taking an oath of or is the president. Okay, we talked about his speech also. He addressed the dignitaries, the leaders, the politicians of the world. After that, a few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe. Awe means amazement, surprise, shocking. Okay, so they were very amazed when they lifted their eyes towards the sky is a spectacular array. Spectacular array, the meaning is written here. An impressive display means colorful and attractive. Okay, so that was seen in the sky. And what was there in the sky? Of South African jets, helicopters, and troops. Carriers roared in perfect formation over the Union buildings. The building or that amphitheater where all people means thousands of people gathered there. So over that building, the jets, helicopters, and such kind of means air force we can say performed their their spectacular performance. Okay, as we can see in India also in many countries means all the countries it happens, or a kind of when there is Air Force Day or Army Day or such kind of parades. So they demonstrate, the Air Force also demonstrate their way, their tribute. Okay, so this was the demonstration by Air Wing. It was not only a display of pinpoint precision and military force, but a demonstration of the military's loyalty to democracy. So he says that it was not only a pinpoint precision means accuracy and military force. This was not the display of accuracy, that how accurate we are, but this was a demonstration of the military's loyalty to their democracy, to a new government that had been freely and fairly elected. Okay, so this was a kind of showing the loyalty towards the nation. Only moments before, the highest generals of the South African Defence Force and Police, their chests bedecked bedecked with ribbons and medals from days gone by, saluted me and pledged their loyalty. He says that he says that before some moments, the generals, the police, the forces or the head of the forces, whose chest bedecked means full of or decorated with ribbons and medals. We can see कि जो आर्मी के जो जनरल्स होते हैं, जो हायर पोस्ट पे जो होते हैं, उनके जो चेस्ट पे जो जो मेडल्स रिबन्स लगे होते हैं, है ना. So that is shown here, that those people saluted me and pledged their loyalty in front of me. I was not unmindful of the fact. Not unmindful of means conscious of, aware of. I was not unmindful. Here two negative things are here. Not and unmindful means I still remember of the fact that not so many years before they would not have saluted but arrested me. Here is the most important thing, that he says that the same generals or same policemen, they not many years ago they had arrested me, and the same people now they are saluting me, they are respecting me, or they saluted and placed in front of me or placed their loyalty in front of me, the same people who earlier arrested me. ये वही लोग हैं या वही ऑफिसर्स जो हैं, जो पुलिसमैन हैं, जिन्होंने मुझे पहले अरेस्टेड करा. सो आई स्टिल रिमेंबर दैट थिंग. फाइनली a chevron of impala jets left a smoke trail. Chevron means a pattern in the shape of V. The same thing which Air Force demonstrate or airplanes demonstrate. So finally a chevron of Impala jets. Impala jets mean a kind of jets were there. Is we have Mirage and such jets, fighter planes. Left a smoke trail of the black, red, green, blue and gold of the new South African flag, and these are the colors in South African flags. So they demonstrated, means in the sky it was demonstrated. Okay, and chevron means a pattern in the shape of V. The day was symbolized for me by the playing of our two national anthems and the vision of white singing Nkosi Skelil Africa and Blake singing Die Stem, the old anthem of Republic. Now there were two different anthems for whites and for blacks. Okay, this thing you will have to keep in mind. Although that day neither group knew the lyrics of the anthem they once despised. Despised means to reject or had a very low opinion. They would soon know the words by heart. They say that still they don't remember those words, but now very soon they will learn these things by heart. On the day of the inauguration, I was overwhelmed. Overwhelmed means the state of being emotional or emotion, oath hona, full of, we can say, with a sense of history. Means in on that day, I still remember the sense of the history, or I was completely overwhelmed with a sense of history. In the first decade of the 20th century, a few years after the bitter Anglo-Boer War. Anglo-Boer War means Anglo is used for English people, Boer is used for South African or South Africa War. And before my own birth, he remembers about the history that before the first decade of this 20th century, so he remembers or he talks about the time when he himself was not born. The white skinned peoples of South Africa paced up their differences and erected a system of racial domination against the dark skinned peoples of their own land. So he says that before his birth, that or after that white skin, after that Anglo-Boer War, a kind of system was developed by English people or white skinned people of South Africa and paged up their differences. Paged up means paged up means they connected, सुलह कर लेना. सो वाइट पीपल, जितने भी वाइट पीपल थे, जो गोरे लोग थे साउथ अफ्रीका में, they paced up themselves together and they developed a system of racial domination against the dark skinned peoples of their own land. और साउथ अफ्रीका में जो ब्लैक पीपल जो रहते थे, ब्लैक स्किन पीपल जो रहते थे, उनके अगेंस्ट एक रेशियल डोमिनेशन का जो सिस्टम है वो उन्होंने डेवलप कर दिया था. और ये कब की बात है? नेल्सन मंडेला के बर्थ से पहले की बात है. मीन्स 20th सेंचुरी के फर्स्ट डेकेड, फर्स्ट जो दशक था उसकी बात कर रहे हैं नेल्सन मंडेला. The structure they created formed the basis of one of the harshest, most inhuman societies the world has ever known. और इस स्ट्रक्चर की वजह से, and or we can say this structure had created or formed the basis, means the base of one of the harshest, means the worst thing or the worst inhuman thing, inhuman society it has born or it has developed in the world, where, means in the world it was not seen at any other place. Now in the last decade of the 20th century and my own 8th decade as a man, he says, now, means it was developed, this system was developed at the very beginning of the 20th century, and now it is the last decade of 20th century, and he himself says about his own age also, that is mentioned, that my own 8th decade, means 71 to 79 years के बीच में उनकी एज है. So he says that I have been watching these things from last 75 or more than 70 years. I have been watching this system. That system had been overturned forever and replaced by one that recognized the rights and freedoms of all peoples regardless of the color of their skin. Now he says that this system had been overturned now, or that has been removed now, and it is replaced by the system, by the one, means by the system that recognize the rights, means that talks about the rights of everyone, every individual person, people who is of whichever color, whether it is black or white, means regardless of the color of their skin. In the next paragraph, that day had come about through the unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of my people, people whose suffering and courage can never be counted or repaid. Further, Nelson Mandela says that that day had come, मीन्स वो दिन कोई अचानक से ये नहीं है कि अचानक से वो दिन आ गया, मीन्स many sacrifices or many martyrs have sacrificed their life. So he says that they had come about through the unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of my people. Thousands of people have sacrificed their lives, people whose suffering and courage can never be counted or reported, and people who sacrificed everything. So their sacrifice, their courage can never be counted or repaid. We cannot pay for their sacrifice. I felt that day as I have on so many other days. Means like many times I have earlier also felt. So on that day I felt the same thing, that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me. He says that many people many people sacrificed before this day, so I cannot repay them. And finally he says that I realized that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots, कि उन सभी के रिजल्ट के रूप में he was there in front of the country, or in that situation, that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me. He talks about those patriots. That long and noble line ended and now began again with me. Means those all people, all patriots who ended their lives. Okay, so that line had ended, but now I think that has begun again with me. I was pained, means he says that I used to be very sad that I was not at all able to thank them, and that they were not able to see what their sacrifices had wrought. Wrought means achieved. He says that I feel very pain. I'm very sad about that thing. I'm very worried about that thing, that those people who sacrificed their lives. So they cannot see this thing, they cannot see the day, or we were not at all able to thank them whatever they have done for this country, और उनका जो सेक्रीफाइस है वो उसकी वजह से हमने क्या अचीव करा है, और वी वर सक्सेसफुल, सो वी वर नॉट एट ऑल एबल टू थैंक देम. Further, in the next paragraph, he says the policy of apartheid created a deep and lasting means लंबे समय तक रहने वाला. So this policy, which policy, apartheid, रंग भेद वाली जो कलर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की जो पॉलिसी है, that created a deep and long lasting means लंबे समय तक रहने वाली, that wound in my country and my people means it hurt us a lot, और इसकी वजह से लोगों के जो जख्म हैं वो काफ़ी लॉन्ग लास्टिंग, काफ़ी डीप जो हैं, वो डीपली पीपल और कंट्री जो है हर्ट हुआ है. ऑल ऑफ अस विल स्पेंड मेनी ईयर्स इफ नॉट जनरेशन रिकवरिंग फ्रॉम दैट प्रोफाउंड हर्ट. प्रोफाउंड मीन्स डीप एंड स्ट्रॉन्ग. सो he says that all of us mean country and people as well, so we will have to spend many years if not generation, कई सारी जनरेशन्स तो शायद नहीं बितानी पड़ेगी इनको इस दुख को, या ये जो घाव है इनको भरने में. हो सकता है कि जनरेशन्स नहीं निकले, कई सारी जनरेशन नहीं निकले, इतना लंबा नहीं हो अब, लेकिन कई सारे इयर्स तो हमें इसमें स्पेंड करने ही पड़ेंगे. उसके बाद जाके ये जो घाव जो है वो भर पाएगा. और कौन सा घाव, कौन सा हर्ट जो हर्ट हुआ है, प्रोफाउंड हर्ट मीन्स गहरा घाव जो है कौन सा है, वो अपार्थाइड का जो गहरा घाव है उसके लिए कह रहे हैं. बट द डेकेड्स ऑफ ऑपरेशन एंड ब्रूटैलिटी had another unintended effect, and that was that it produced the Oliver Tambo's, the Walter Sizulus, the Chief Luthuluis, the Yusuf Dadus, the Bran Fishers, the Robert Subquos of our time, men of such extraordinary courage, wisdom, and generosity. He says that due to the decades of oppression and brutality, कि इन इस तरह के जो कई दशकों तक जो अत्याचार जो हम पे हुए, और उसकी वजह से क्या हुआ, इसकी वजह से इस कंट्री ने इस तरह के पीपल जो हैं प्रोड्यूस किए हैं. एंड दीज आर द पीपल, द नेम्स ऑफ पीपल. वन थिंग हियर you must know that generally before proper noun we don't use the, but here you can see the Suzulus, the chief Luthulis, है ना, सभी नेम्स के आगे द लगा हुआ है एंड लास्ट में एस लगा हुआ है. जिस तरह से वी कैन से दैट इन आवर सिटी देयर आर many people who are playing cricket, so we can say the Kohlis. Okay, so this is proper noun but used as common noun. In that situation we can use the before the name. Okay, and that is very well explained on page number 25. Also there is one exercise I will explain afterwards. Courage, wisdom, and generosity that their like may never be known again. He says that such people, due to that torture, due to that brutality, so unintentionally, such kind of people were born in this country, or this country had produced such kind of people. Perhaps it requires such depths of oppression to create such heights of character. These are very popular lines. He नेल्सन मंडेला सेज कि शायद इस तरह के जो ग्रेट पीपल हैं इनको बनाने में इस तरह के अत्याचार का जो बहुत बड़ा जो है वो रोल है, कि इस तरह के ऑपरेशन जो हैं, इस तरह की जो ब्रुटालिटी है उनके साथ हुई, उसकी वजह से वो कहते हैं कि जिस तरह से आग में तप के जो सोना ज़्यादा प्योर हो जाता है, तो सेम थिंग इज मेंशन हियर इन दीज लाइन्स. Again, perhaps it requires such depths of operation to create such heights of character. My country is rich in the minerals and gems that lie beneath its soil, but I have always known that its greatest wealth is its people. He says that I know this thing, that under the soil or beneath the soil there are various kind of minerals, gems under or beneath the soil. But our real gems, our greatest wealth is its people, finer and truer than the purest diamonds. Means they are more valuable, people are more valuable than the purest kind of diamonds.